Okay, guys, welcome to Unorganized with Shawnee Shore. I am here with good friend Justin Teague.
What's up,
Justin,
everybody?
how are you?
I'm good. I decided to hit you up whenever I saw you had the podcast on to, see what's out there and talk to you because it's been a little bit.
It has been a while. You're between places right now. You're like traveling from Maryland to Jersey. How was your drive up today?
The drive was pretty good. I went through, woke up, went out last night, woke up at like 8 o'clock. Took like 2.5 hours to get here, but I have a place down in Maryland and I have a house here in New Jersey, so I'm just in between until I figure out what I'm going to do with this house here in New Jersey.
Nice. Would you go out for like a Halloween event or something?
What, up here or down there?
Down there where you went out last night.
Oh, so I just went out in the city, Baltimore, where I grew up. Went out with a few friends and celebrated Halloween a little bit. Went out into Fells Point area, if any of your listeners or watchers know where that area is at.
Probably not, but
I mean, we are with the Shawnee Shore up here in Dirty Jersey.
yeah, but so you've been around a lot. You've done a lot of traveling, right? And
yeah.
Where would you say like your favorite place like going out wise is? Because I'm sure there's a lot of like different vibes everywhere. I mean, I've only really been out like 2 places, so
Yeah, I've been overseas a little bit. We could touch into that. I was active duty military for a few years, about 9 years of my long life. But I would say in the States, one of my favorite places has to be Boulder, Colorado.
Okay, see, this is a place I can talk about, actually.
Oh, yeah. I actually went with previous guest that you had on.
Yeah, Ryan, you guys had
Ryan.
a trip out there.
We went out with the boys and stuff, and it was fun, really fun. I went out there a few times, and I would say easily I would live out there. I like the cold. I like the warm.
I do like the warm, but I appreciate I like the seasons, I think. It's starting to grow on me a bit. Like if I had summer full year, I don't think that would be like a great thing.
Well, yeah, we're getting old now, dude.
Yeah, no, it's not even that. Like, dude, I didn't even drink much this summer. I think I drank like 4 times, which is like a low for me, I think. But I just like being out there, getting out, actually doing something. But I think I would appreciate it a lot less if it was like a year-round thing.
Yeah, I think that the scenery out there and just like kind of puts it into perspective. Like over here, I like the beach, I like doing all of that, but going over there, you just see like nature's landscape up in the mountains, doing
It's
everything.
beautiful. So in Boulder, oh look, my French press coffee is done from a previous guest, Maiden Coffee. But yeah, no, Boulder is a beautiful place. I think the first time I went out there, I was my uncle would take my cousins and I on a guys trip every year.
Yeah.
Because he went to school there and played football back in the 70s, I think. And dude, I was taken away by just driving from Denver to Boulder. That
drive right there.
down, and you're seeing all the snow-capped mountains and everything. It was just stunning.
Yeah, and then you go over into like the Estes Park area, Garden of the Gods area, and it's just breathtaking.
What's the Gardens of the Gods?
It's kind of like just like a bunch of mountains, but it's like that red clay color.
Okay.
So you could go on them, you could climb them.
What time of year did you go?
I've gone in the fall every year, roughly. So the first time I went was October time frame.
Okay.
When I went with Ryan, and I took a trip after that, and that was around my birthday, so February time frame. So it was pretty cold.
Yeah.
Pretty cold.
So like the first time I actually went to Colorado, I believe it was like 0 degrees or less every day.
Really?
Yeah. So we went out there and.
How did you even enjoy the weather or the?
Honestly, I was younger. I was 18, and the cold there is different than the cold here for sure.
Oh,
because there was less wind, I think, out there, and it was drier, so like it didn't hurt.
It wasn't like that bone chilling.
Yeah, it wasn't like my bones weren't hurting, so it was just like I remember waking up in the morning because I would go to the gym and work out, and it would be like negative 12 degrees outside. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. I walk outside and I'm like, this doesn't feel as bad as I thought it would feel.
Yeah,
but
I think with you, like, you were never a big drinker. Like, I know you would go out and have fun and. You've had jobs, I don't know if you've talked about it, where you were bodyguard, security.
Bouncer, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean,
like
whatever term you want to call it, whatever's on the resume or LinkedIn as podcast host and CEO.
Actually, it's funny. I have on my LinkedIn account, I'm a complete idiot. I probably shouldn't have this because I'm like 28 years old. I got to start being more serious now.
Yeah.
But I have that because I have a couple shares of stocks in like Amazon, Google.
Oh, Lord.
So I have written on my thing, on my LinkedIn that
owner.
I'm an investor in Amazon, Google.
You look like a straight e-commerce guy.
Dude, I'm a nobody, and I investor in Amazon, Google, like all the big box like stocks. I just write that I'm an investor in them.
Yeah.
I might have like 10 shares, which equates to nothing, but
hey, you're an owner.
I am an investor, and I want my opinion heard.
Exactly.
But,
and I think as we get older, I think like less of like the dating sites. You just go on LinkedIn, with the quality.
Is LinkedIn the way to go?
I mean, I'm thinking so because you want somebody that's just as successful as you are and driven, and that's one way you could figure it out.
I honestly don't use LinkedIn at all. I just made the account and like the profile and put all that weird stuff on there, and then I just kind of leave it. I don't know what goes on with it. I know I get a bunch of emails though.
Oh yeah, I get hit up by recruiters.
I get spam emails nonstop from LinkedIn. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, just so the listeners, I don't actually use LinkedIn for that, but
that would be hilarious though.
It's like where do you start though?
The dating, I mean, 2023. I mean, it's rough out there.
It is rough.
It's very rough because I mean, I've been on the apps on and off.
Yeah.
Like, they never lead to any, like, nothing really.
Dude, all you have to do is say you're what 6'7", and then you're just like 99 plus on everything.
6'7" is in the little profile thing.
Oh yeah, so that's all you put. You don't even need a profile. You just put 6'7" and blue eyes. I feel like
no one reads anything. I feel like no one like looks at anything anymore.
Oh, I think girls do a little bit more than guys. You know how many guys I've talked to where they just swipe right on everybody and then filter out the matches. I've started so many guys.
It is a good tactic, but I mean, I'm getting the apps. They've just gone downhill. It's all like spam accounts and stuff now. And then I noticed I get a bunch of like weird followers on Instagram when I'm back on the sites and everything. I'm like, what's going on with this?
Well, most of them are linked together. They're like, oh, do you want your Tinder or Bumble linked to your Instagram? I'm like, why in the world would I do that with all the fake accounts on Instagram and now on these dating sites?
No, it's rough.
And we got to be a little bit more cautious with, at least I am selective with who I bring into my life. Now that I'm getting older, 29 years old. And
definitely. Quality is way more important to me now than everything. I've definitely like tightened up my circle a bit more.
Oh, for sure.
Like as you get older and mature more and kind of seed out the negative people and stuff. And especially like I'm trying to aspire to do all these new things.
Yeah.
Like, I try to allocate my time properly. And if you don't, I don't see like a positive benefit from having you in my life and then you having me in my life too, which is important to me. Like I want to add benefit to you as well.
You want a partner. You don't want an anchor.
Exactly. I mean, even with my friendships with my boys, like this year it's like really flourished. Like we're all around each other a lot in the summer. And like winter comes around, a lot less to do.
Well, yeah, we're in New Jersey here. I mean, the boat days aren't as popular.
No, exactly. And like they're all up in most of my friends pretty much live up in like North Jersey. That's like the thing to do when you're younger, like Hoboken, Jersey City, all that stuff. I refuse to leave Monmouth County and the shore.
But dude, you have a killer spot. Your family's here. You live right by the beach.
Exactly. Like that's the way I put it. Like I want to be by everything, but not in anything. Like like I'll go out to Asbury every now and then and stuff, but I don't want to be there, like be in the town because dude, the traffic, just walking around places. That's never been my vibe. Even Hoboken and stuff. Yeah,
you've always been a really laid back guy, which I really respected. And plus, you're relatively pretty large in the fitness scene here, so I would say there's not as much of a fitness scene in the Hoboken area, more on the New York side of the house over there. Whereas here you have Iron Revolution, you got Lifter's Lair, you got all these other spots.
You have a Tillis opening in Brick now too.
I heard that, and I'm a little upset. I'm not going to be able to.
That's going to be awesome. I mean, definitely a different. I respect the Tillis because they're like a different vibe than like the Iron Rev and the Lifter's Lair, which are more like modernized, like really nice aesthetic gyms. I feel like
the influencers.
I feel a Tillis is going to be just that hardcore, like kick you in the mouth, get in and work out. Like,
oh, for sure. That's where the Gold's Gym guys from back in the heyday.
Exactly. But no, I mean, I was very lucky with the fitness scene down here, working for JSS for so long. That
Ryan, shout out.
Yeah, for sure. Like, let me work there for so long. Just like being a part of the community, just trying to carry myself properly, always be positive with people. That's allowed me to like kind of stay relevant. Like, not, I mean, I'm not like a huge name or anything, but I do know a lot of people in the fitness industry, and I love that around here.
Yeah, and you have all of these really great local companies. You got NutriBio, you got Astroflave, JSS, you got all these gyms popping up.
You have like Coronado's Clean
Coronado's
Cuisine. I've used him quite a bit in my time. But how long did you live in Jersey? Because you said you were in the military, so you probably bounced around quite a bit, right?
So do you want my LinkedIn resume? Swing back through.
Yeah, let's see it. No.
I was got out of high school, joined active duty military for the Navy.
Fresh when you were 18, you started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right out of high school. I got accepted to a few colleges, but I was at that immature state where I was like, I don't know what I want to do, and I was like, I want to get out of the house. And I didn't want to pay for college because it's freaking
Yeah,
nuts
so
right now.
I mean, probably similar to me. Like when I got out of high school, I didn't take high school seriously at all. Like my thing was like, I'm gonna figure out how to pass and like just pass.
Yeah.
And then go from there. Like that's it.
Yeah. So then I joined the Navy and I did some intel work. Then I transitioned. Well, let me back up. I went to Florida and I lived for about 4.5 years. Then I got out of that line of work and then I transitioned to military police, which took me to Texas. And then I was there for a little bit. And then they sent me to New Jersey. And New Jersey, got here in 2016.
Okay.
Where I did military police. Got out during COVID 2020. I was like, done. I did not enjoy the military.
Okay. So you got out like in the heart of COVID, or
heart of COVID?
Really?
And that was a nightmare because everything was closed, nobody was working, everything was from home.
So what was that like? Like, when you get out of the military, do they like provide unemployment, or like I imagine it was hard to find a job, right?
So for me, I've always kind of been a self-starter where I don't really do anything unless I have a plan. But yeah, for a lot of veterans, if any of them are listening, that when they get out, you get, I believe, 36 weeks of unemployment full of whatever state that you file with. So you have a lot of people, they'll file through New Jersey and then they'll go to where they're from. At least that I met, because New Jersey, the cost of living here is nuts.
It is ridiculous.
But, yeah. So got out in 2020. Then I moved back to Maryland for about 4 months.
Okay.
I was a project manager for a government contractor down there. And then the government back here in New Jersey, they poached me, and I became a physical security officer for the Navy installation over by us. I don't want to say the location because I don't know how anonymous we are. Yeah. But then I did that for about a year. Then I went to become an information security specialist over with Air Force National Guard.
Okay.
So that was over at McGuire Air Force Base. Did that for about a year as well. And now I just signed with the Air Force Air National Guard, and we team with NSA down over in Maryland.
Okay.
At an undisclosed location.
Very nice. So, you said you like throughout your tenure in the Navy, you lived in like Florida for a little bit, Texas, and Jersey. And I remember us having a conversation at the store a while back. And you said if you were to ever like settle down somewhere, you think you want it to be Texas.
Yeah, I love Texas.
Yeah,
the people are nice.
Where in Texas were you?
So, I was over in San Antonio.
Okay.
Love the area. Would not live there. Cost of living is really cheap though, so it's great. But if I lived anywhere, I'd probably go into the Austin, Dallas, or Houston area. I have a few buddies down in Houston that really good guys, really big in the fitness industry as well, and a lot of industries moving down to Texas now, and we saw that through COVID.
I do see that a lot. I know like a lot of major companies. I know Tesla moved to.
Tesla has a gigafactory. They have their own zip code in town that's just a gigafactory.
I read that Elon Musk bought like a whole town for his employees and stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah, I interviewed to go down there whenever.
Oh, really?
Before I took this job with the Air National Guard and NSA, and I got to like the second round, and they're like, "You have to move like right now," and I was like, "I can't move right now."
Yeah. So I actually applied for Tesla too. I actually never really talked about this.
Well, you're an owner, so I mean.
Yeah, I am an investor, but when I kind of made that decision to myself that I wanted to move on from retail, I was lost. I'm like, fitness is the only thing I know. Retail is the only thing I've really ever done. Yeah. And I have no college degree, so like, what do you do with that? Like, it's very hard because I felt like I'm good if I could get an interview with someone, I could talk, but without any like prerequisites, I couldn't get interviews.
Well, you would have to lean into your sales.
Yeah, so that's what I tried to go for. There was a Tesla being built in Eatontown. I'm like, maybe I'll go work at Tesla, see what happens, and they never called me back. But
yeah, those cars sell themselves. Yeah, so, I mean, anybody can go over there and sell that car.
I mean, and honestly, I was kind of looking for something like probably an easy way out, honestly, just to make some money. And I'm like, Tesla sells itself. I don't know anything about cars. Like, I'll just stand.
I'll just batteries.
Yeah, I'll be there and just talk to people, and if they want to buy the Tesla, they're going to buy a Tesla. Like, there's no negotiating or anything like that.
Yeah, and your best skill set that I've noticed is your ability to talk to anybody that comes into your way. So I mean, Any type of sales job is great, but I'm happy that you did your own thing and you're your own boss. Because you've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Every time we talked,
Yeah,
you're
no,
always
people.
looking into your future. And
I've actually never talked to. I am very passionate about like business. I don't know why. I think my uncle has a big influence on me because he's a very successful business owner,
yeah,
and I've always like had that mind. Like I want to know the back end of businesses and understand how to do things, and then I just never really did it myself because I was just pretty much lazy, honestly. And then I got out of JSS and I had a little bit more time on my hands. I'm like, okay, I really need to like get after it if I want to actually do something. So now I kind of I try not to think as much now, which is a big thing. I think it's like if you have an idea, I feel like a lot of people sit there and think about it, like, oh, like this, or what could go wrong. Like with the podcast, I literally was sitting at NutriBio one day, my new job, and I'm like, I think I'm going to start a podcast, like just to get my name out there more and help promote my nutrition coaching when I start that in a couple weeks. I'm like, I think I'm just going to start a podcast. Literally ordered the stuff within like 15, 20 minutes.
yeah,
And I'm like, okay, well, the stuff's coming. I got to do it.
yeah. I mean,
Like,
you've always like every time I've been around you, you've always been able to talk to all the customers, and I think that's the great thing because from what we've talked about in the past, we both grew up kind of like insecure
for sure.
guys, and I think you working retail definitely built up your ability to talk to people.
I mean, I think anyone that has known me like a long time
yeah,
from my first day at JSS or to like halfway through to the last day. It's completely different when like customers walk in the store and I'm able to actually like talk to them. I used to be like so shy, not really have a full conversation, be awkward. Now I can like actually like kind of flow and have a conversation with that. Pretty much, I try to make it with anyone. I may not know what you're talking about, but I'll be able to ask some questions or something.
Oh yeah, the engagement is real. I mean, when did we meet? 2016.
I mean, I think
over at JSS. I think we did the demo over there at that Retro Fitness.
Retro Fitness in Middletown. Yeah, I remember because
I was really close with Brian and Andrew at that time.
Yeah.
And you were working in there as well. I think, what was it, like 4 employees at that point?
Well, how many stores did we have? 3?
Brick, Middletown, and
Bradley.
Yeah,
So there was probably 3 stores. Wow.
3
I
stores.
didn't realize we've known each other since 26. So you like started shopping at JSS immediately upon moving
As soon as I got
to Jersey.
That's a funny story. I went because I was down in Florida and I was big into the fitness thing, and I was like, I hate GNC.
Yeah.
And I hate Vitamin Shop. Hopefully they don't come for you. But
No, I mean, GNC and Vitamin Shop, the way I put, like, they have their place in, the fitness industry. Like, they help, especially beginners. But if you want people with, like, a little more knowledge and stuff, that's when you go to, like, the smaller mom and pop supplement stores because I feel like they, like, care more. And there's no, like, from my experience at JSS, there's no incentives to sell certain products.
yeah. And that it's funny because I went to GNC as soon as I moved here, and I went to the guy. I was like, "Where's the real supplement stores?" Because I have no idea. I just moved here. He's like, "Well, I go to this spot in called JSS." And I was like, "What the hell is JSS?" And then it was Jersey Shore Supplements. And I just put it in. I was leaving work one day, and it was over by the Middletown location. And I just put it in. I was like, "Let me go check it out." Walked in, met this guy, talked to him for like 2 hours straight. Just bullshitting, talking, really good. He gave me like a bunch of free samples, and I think he gave me like a T-shirt at the time.
Yep.
And I was like, God, this guy's really cool. Like a week later, I was like, let me go back and actually get some really supply. And it was a different guy. I was like, what the hell? Ended up talking to that guy for another like 2.5 hours. And once I tell you the names, you're gonna be like, oh, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like, who was that guy that was here last week on, like, Thursday or whatever? He's like, oh, that's the owner, Brian. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, such a humble guy, such a sweet dude. And then come to find out that who I was talking to was Andrew, and such a good dude.
Of course.
Still friends with Andrew. Really, really good buddy today.
Nice.
I love seeing Brian and all the success he's having with his companies.
So you said you got started in fitness in Florida.
Yeah.
What was like your inspiration on getting into like the fitness scene?
I've always grew up in like the YouTube, watching the fitness guys on YouTube back in probably 2012.
Who did you watch back then? Because I probably watched like the same dudes.
Oh, dude, you had like Christian Guzman,
Okay.
which is the owner of 3D Energy and Alpha Elite and Alpha Land and all them. You had Matt Ogus back in the day. You had Chris Jones.
I remember Chris
Max
Jones.
Tuning. Steve Cook was probably my initial
Okay.
guy into the fitness world, and just watched them. And I was always into sports. I was a wrestler, played
Mm-hmm.
baseball my whole life, and then in Florida, just military lifestyle. You kind of have to stay in somewhat
Stay in
decent
good shape. Yeah.
and just really dove headfirst into it.
How long would you say it like took you to really develop your passion for it?
I would say probably 2015 is when I really started taking it serious.
Okay.
With the supplements, taking care of my nutrition, doing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming to New Jersey, where it's like firsthand is that gym tan laundry type of
Of
mentality.
course. Yeah.
And I've heard all the jokes from all of my friends from
Mm-hmm.
wherever I am at. They're like, "Oh, you got that GTL up there." I'm like, "It's kind of like that, a little less laundry, but
Yeah.
definitely the tanning and the
For
fitness
sure.
scene for sure."
But I know Christian Guzman. You mentioned him. You went to summer shredding once, right?
Yes, so I've met him a few times. Actually, back in I'd say 14, 15, I actually signed up as like one of his online coaching things. And
Okay.
he was an online coach for me for
Mm-hmm.
a few months. Really good guy. Super busy back in the day, so I can only imagine now.
Mm-hmm.
I went down to I'd say each of his gyms that he's opened. His first gym and his two other ones, and now the
I didn't
Alpha
know he
Land.
had multiple.
Oh yeah, because he's just getting bigger and bigger
Yeah.
and bigger.
So Alpha Land, I mean, I've never been there. I see pictures of it, and I've seen like the content from summer shredding. It looks like insane, like bigger than most bodybuilding shows, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, one of my good friends, Gabe, he when I was actually going to Texas,
Mm-hmm.
he hit me up. He's a personal trainer down there at the time for I want to say it was one of the gyms, Anytime Fitness or something.
Okay.
Hit me up on Instagram because that's back whenever I really cared about Instagram and
Yeah.
socials and the whole fitness scene. You look at it now, you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But he hit me up. We're still good friends today, and he actually works for Anaka.
Okay. Yeah.
He's works on their Anaka supplements line, and he goes to Alpha Land. He's a member there, and his girlfriend, I think, just competed in summer shredding and did really well.
Okay.
I don't know the exact placement, so Gabe, if you hear this, don't.
Yeah. What is summer shredding is just like a it's kind of like a bodybuilding show, but a little bit different. It's like more like because what I noticed in bodybuilding that not that I follow it much at all, but the physiques seem a lot less attainable. Like the more we move on in time, like
Yeah.
from when I got I don't compete or anything, but like when I started following probably back in like 2014, 15, 16, somewhere around there,
Yeah.
physique like seemed like an attainable thing.
Yeah, back when the original
Yeah.
creation
And
of
then it was like now all of a sudden you look at the guys and it's like, wow, that's a lot of muscle on the.
yeah, they're classic physique competitors with board shorts.
Mhm.
It's not even fair to like an obtainable guy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but I would say summer shredding's more for. I'm probably going to get roasted, but it's a lot of influencers that go.
That's what I
because it's
noticed.
Such a big name.
Well, that's what I was talking to my cousin recently. I was saying like I think maybe down the road bodybuilding might try to get more towards that because that's where all the mainstream
That's where
is
the
and all
money is.
that's where the revenue is.
Yeah.
Because like open bodybuilding is always going to be open bodybuilding, but classic physique I feel like that could be a lot more bigger than it is if they tone things down a little. But who knows? I don't know.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you already are starting to see that transition with Chris Bumstead,
Mm-hmm.
probably the greatest classic physique competitor there ever will be. But
Yeah.
he's so big now, and he's kind of getting into that influencer scene. And I would say summer shredding is really big for the influencers, but they do have some really competitive bodybuilders
Mm-hmm.
because those are bodybuilders. They realize that's where the money's at. Is that
That influencer.
influence
Mhm.
that show could bring you. And then also the one thing that kind of sets them apart, which I really like, is transformation class.
Okay.
Where
Oh,
you-
that's awesome. They
yeah,
do that.
so you would have somebody that they have competitors that are really old
Mhm.
that really don't care, and then they get into that and they look phenomenal. Or you have people that are obese, then they shred down,
Mhm.
and it's really inspiring. You see some of these videos, and it's like tear jerking because it's like people that just gave up on life.
Oh, dude,
and
I love a
this.
good transformation, dude.
Oh.
It's like I love seeing like the JSS challenge. I know that's
Yeah.
coming to an end soon. Like I'm so excited to see like the changes that people making those all the time, and being a part of them was always awesome.
Yeah, because you were right there in the weeds,
Yeah,
helping out filter through those transformations.
it's crazy. I mean, just seeing someone dedicated, like obviously you and I probably know, like the transformation you physically make is amazing, but like how you feel about doing it, like the pride, like how accomplished you feel and all that stuff is amazing. Like fitness, pretty much, it's given me everything in my life at this point.
Yeah. I mean, you've always been somebody that I've looked as a cohort with fitness.
Mhm.
We've always went back and forth, and you always have that good advice, and I'm happy that you started your own shore
Body nutrition.
shore body nutrition and your coaching and stuff like that. Because I think you could help a lot more people that you didn't have that reach before, and now you're able to actually create your own
Yeah,
thing.
I feel like with me, I just kind of, it's different. I feel like I can help people with like a good balanced life, which is something I've worked on a lot.
Yeah.
And now I'm better with. Like, I don't revolve everything around the gym, the meals, and all that stuff, but I know how to do it where it's like attainable, and you don't have to like, it's not, you won't fall off really. And I really want to like show that to people, and it can help you in all aspects of life.
Yeah. And I think the advice that you're going to give to the people that you sign up will be life changing.
For sure. I really hope so.
Yeah. And I hope this podcast really blows up because it's really set up for success, because it's really talk to whoever and talk about whatever you want to do.
Exactly, dude. That's what
It's all unorganized.
all unorganized. Like, but people will come up to me and ask me, they're like, "What's your podcast about?" I'm like, "Well, which episode?" Like,
yeah.
Like I had Maiden Coffee on, and I talked about specialty coffee for 45 minutes with him. I learned a lot, and now I want to learn more things. And if someone's smart about a certain like specialty or category, just come on and talk about it, and I'm gonna ask some questions because I'm not gonna understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, like we could go into like what you do for work. I have no idea, and then if I go into what I do for work, you'll have no idea. But that's the beauty about having this long form talk, is you get to actually really engage and learn about other people and other interests and stuff like that.
Exactly. No, but I mean, even going back to work, like you said, you were someone that you always want to plan when you leave somewhere.
Yep.
That's exactly what I was looking at with when I moved to change jobs. A lot of people didn't realize I had a job for 2 weeks after JSS.
Really? I didn't even know that.
No, that did not work out at all.
Are you gonna say what it is?
Yeah, no. So I worked for a beverage distributor.
Alcohol or energy or
energy
just...
energy drinks, like 3Ds, Celsius, protein shakes, all that kind of stuff. So it was still kind of in the fitness realm. I was traveling to gyms and supplement stores. The job basically gave me no direction at all.
Yeah, it was just go do this.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even that. Like, he knew I was coming for like a month. I accepted the job, and he's like, "Okay, you start in a month." Show up. He didn't have a desk for me. He's like, "Do you have a list of gyms or places in your area that you want to go to?" I'm like, "No, you didn't tell me to prepare. Like, do anything." I'm like, I know the area. Yeah, I just said, "Yeah, I have a list," because I could make a list up off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, just like," he's like, "Go around, I guess." I'm like, "Well, how do I take a sale? How do I do this? How do I like take an order?" He's like, "Just call me." I'm like, "No." I literally like the first day I just said straight up no to him.
Yeah.
He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Dude, if I'm going to be your sales rep, I'm not going to go around to businesses and be like, 'Oh, you want to order? Let me call my boss.'"
Yeah, that makes no sense.
I'm gonna take the order on the spot. Like, I am selling it to him. Why am I gonna get someone else to like do the order? That's weird.
Yeah, and it makes you look weird. Like,
Makes
hold
me
on,
look dumb.
thank you for accepting this. Now here, talk to my boss.
Yeah,
It's
like here's my
Dad.
phone.
Yeah,
Here's my phone. Like, let me put you on speaker. But so he's like, "Okay, go to the shore area in North Jersey. Try to conquer that area with sales. You can undercut everyone's price. We get better prices. Blah blah blah." Like, okay, that's easy. So first week I go around to the shore. I get a couple sales, and then he's like, "Okay," I come back to the office one day a week, and it was out by Philly. And he's like, "Okay, so what you get?" I'm like, "These are the sales," and then I had like a whole bunch of information I wrote up. I'm like, "Oh, these are the competitors. These are what their prices are." I figured out all that stuff. He's like, "Oh, well, if there's competition, let's just go to Delaware and Philly area. Like, just go there every day." Like, I'm like, "Well, I agreed to like the North Jersey and the shore where I'm from.
Yeah.
Like, for a reason. I don't want to go to Delaware and Philly every day, and my mileage rate is terrible." He said, "Well, this is like, it's easier for us to ship it here because we're closer." I'm like, "So you basically just gave me a job and just changed it in the first week."
Yeah, that's what they like to do.
Yeah, and then so that first week I went to Philly. I don't know if you heard. Remember over the summer when the bridge collapsed?
Yeah, when it melted because of that semi or whatever it was.
Yeah. So that was a Sunday. That Monday was the week I was starting to go to Philly.
Yeah, let me put in that resignation right now.
So I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be miserable." So I traveled to Philly, and then that week I also had the interview with NutriBio set up.
Yeah.
So one day during that week, I was like, okay, NutriBio had to reschedule a couple times. Finally found a day that worked, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I went up there, interviewed, and then I shot over to Pennsylvania to get to Philly, later that day, and then NutriBio like offered me the job, and they're like, "Oh, we really want you." I'm like, "Okay, like I'm gonna take it." And that was probably on a Wednesday. My boss at the job I was currently at just stopped talking to me.
Just stop.
Just ghosted me.
Wow.
Worse than I've ever been ghosted before. It was crazy.
Damn, and that's saying something from these Jersey girls.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
pretty bad.
Dude, he literally, I was like, I would text him like, "Oh, I'm going here today." Like, I would send him, like, "I got this order, blah, blah, blah." No answers. I'm like, okay, this is weird. and then I, like, on Friday night, I sent him a long email about, like, why the job wasn't going to be working out for me. If we can negotiate, maybe I can make it work. And no answer.
Yeah. That's
And then even
professional.
Even when I left there and I went to NutriBio, obviously I had some accounts built from like their original orders. I got more orders in for drinks, and I would answer my phone and be like, "Hey, I'm not with the company anymore, but I'll send the order over," and then this is like their email. I emailed like 5 orders and no one answered me either.
I wonder if they ever got their drinks.
I don't know. I eventually just told the people, I'm like, "Listen, these are the competitors. Just go to them." Like,
just go to them.
Yeah, I'm like, they're like, "Yeah, these guys aren't answering." I'm like, "Well, dude, I don't know. Like, I'm not. There's a reason I'm not there, probably." Like,
I mean, how did you find out about this NutriBio job? I know that working with JSS, you had connections with a lot of these companies. I know they're Jersey based, right?
yeah. So they're up in Middlesex, New Jersey, the town, not the county. Well, they're in. It's in Middlesex County, but it's also the name of the town. I didn't actually know that either, but Matt set me up with it from JSS.
Oh, Matt, great guy.
Yeah. He literally just he called me. He's like, so NutriBio's looking to hire. I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "Would you be interested?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like,
Did you know what the job was, or you were just like, "Get me out of this distribution"?
I mean, I knew what NutriBio was. So, and it was like, being a part of JSS, I always wanted to be part of like the back end stuff. So I just saw this as an opportunity. Like, I know NutriBio doesn't have a storefront, but I'm in the office, so I see all the manufacturing, the testing, all the sales and marketing. I see everything now. So I love being on the back end, being able to learn more about the back end of like the fitness industry, kind of.
Yeah, and a little bit more into NutriBio. I'm gonna be pretty ignorant, but don't they get tested through the FDA?
So
what is their testing?
They do third-party testing. So they send all their products out to get tested for like 99.98% purity, or they won't produce it.
Yeah, which a lot of companies don't do.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I always like NutriBio. They're always really clean.
Oh yeah, for sure. Great company, like industry standard, I would think, as far as like product quality and stuff like that. But the FDA doesn't regulate any supplements. They have like set regulations for the like the supplement facts panel. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That like you're allowed to do certain things with claims and stuff like that. But as far as like regulating supplements, they can't. I don't think they can, because everything's I don't think they want to touch that area, because the FDA is what's it, Food and Drug Administration.
Yeah.
So they're in with like pharma, and
we know,
like supplements and pharma are kind of like, they should be together.
They're gray areas.
Well, they should be like hand in hand, like have supplements and pharmaceuticals, like, because a lot of supplements can take away from pharmaceuticals, but they don't want that. There's way too much money in pharma to sell you a $6 herb instead.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, what's your role with NutriBio right now?
So I'm at the bottom of the totem pole right now, kind of. I'm just like starting out there.
Yeah.
I'm doing customer service to start, then I'm just going to try to work my way up the ladder, with whatever opportunity presents itself there.
You're already connected with them, so I'm sure it's going to be a rocket trajectory.
I sure hope so. I mean, I feel like I've done a decent job there so far, and the company, like everyone's really cool there. I get along with everyone. It's a really fun thing to be part of.
Yeah.
The only rough part is like the commute
commute up to Middlesex town.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's 287 is miserable.
How far is that for you?
Well, I go to the gym in the morning, so it's like 45 minutes
from the gym.
45 minutes to like an hour 15, depending on the traffic.
Oof.
There's like a 30-minute buffer. I literally sit in the parking lot when I finish my workout. I'm like, okay, GPS to work, and it'll take me a different route every day.
Yeah, like with me, where I got a place in Maryland, where I'm at, it's like an hour drive.
Okay.
But on high traffic times, it's probably a good hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes.
Maryland, see, dude, I'm so bad with maps. You're not near DC, right? Or are you?
I'm right in between DC and Baltimore.
Okay, so you're probably in the heart of that like
Yes.
Maryland traffic that everyone hates.
Yes, the MVA. I am right there,
Oh wow.
and it's a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
But so much government industries in that area with DC.
Quantico, right? And
Uh,
or Quantico is more federal, right?
yeah, that's
Virginia.
federal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, I don't touch DC or Virginia at all. I do
Okay.
not want to be in that nightmare
Mm-hmm.
of a place. But yeah, I'm right there at Fort Meade,
Okay.
which is like right in between both of them. So whenever I'm fully there, I'm looking about getting another place, probably closer to DC than Baltimore, just because the end goal would probably be working DC somewhere with
Okay.
what I do for work.
So what you're in like what are you doing for work now? You're in Intel still or like
Yeah, so I work for a cyber operations group for the Air Force, and our mission is connected with NSA.
Okay.
What I do specifically is I kind of do personnel security, info security, physical security for the space that we work in. So we work in a SCIF, which people can look up if they want, but it's basically where all of the classified, secret, top secret, all of that stuff is managed and held.
Okay.
I mean, basically, I don't want to overspeak, but
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
control that area with security.
Okay.
So make sure no security is leaked out. Make sure everything is good to go. All the equipment is Tempest ready.
So is that more online or more like physical?
Physical in the office, because
Oh, okay.
like everybody that comes into that space needs a TS clearance, and if not, they got to be vetted.
So you would be the guy to stop Edward Snowden.
Yes, I am that guy that would keep that from happening. Which we have a bunch of a really popular one that just happened was up in Massachusetts. They had a Air Force National Guard member. I forget his name, but he leaked a bunch of information on a Discord server
Okay.
because he was trying to win a bet with one of his friends in there, I guess. And
Really?
that got leaked onto 4chan and then onto Telegram, and Russia picked up on it and stuff like that.
That's rough.
Which is all in class, so I could talk about it. But
Yeah.
it's that is exactly what my job is to stop people from that.
Leaking
Exactly that.
information.
Yeah.
Interesting. Like
So
how?
I'm kind of the gatekeeper. You shall not pass. You
Yeah.
know? That's
So-
my role.
And that you kind of got into that from your background in like the Navy, right?
Yeah.
That like led you to that area.
Yeah, because when I was in the Navy, I did a little bit intel work in communications, then law enforcement, which led me into the anti-terrorism field, physical security field. And then I used that in my talking skills to get into this role on more of the cybersecurity, cyber terrorism side, and then just moved up from there.
Are you in school for like the cybersecurity stuff, trying to get more certifications? Because that's also something I looked into.
Yeah, so right now I'm going to school for software engineering.
Okay.
Love coding and doing all of
Do
that.
you?
Yeah, I really do. I love computers and doing all of that.
That's like really tough stuff. Software engineering is like probably one of the harder engineerings, right?
Yeah, it sucks.
Like if you look that up, I think it was one of the harder ones.
Yeah, it's a nightmare right now. But the good thing is I work with a lot of brilliant people that make stupid money in the space.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, hey, like, can you help me with this? And they'll be like, yeah, I got you. And they just do it in like 5 seconds.
Really.
But the issue that we're running into is with this AI coming out is like a lot of this coding stuff AI could just do.
Yeah.
But the thing is that AI just can't do yet is that human aspect of it, where they could put the code together, but maybe that code needs kind of like that human touch because human nature, which
Like-
AI does not have.
Well, I feel like that's the thing. I follow AI a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting stuff. I utilize AI quite a bit too.
Yeah.
I've never talked about it on the podcast, but I don't really care. But all my clips that I'm making are all generated from AI.
Yeah.
So
But they're doing a great job.
yeah, no, I mean, I edit them once they're in the AI to make sure like it's at the right part of where the clip should be to make it
Yeah.
sound good and everything. Because sometimes they mess it up a little bit. And then, dude, it's funny that when AI names the clips. Like my first podcast with my best friend Chris Bader,
Yeah.
and he was talking about high school sports, and I guess he played the same sports as John McCain or something.
Oh,
So
Lord.
it was like Senator John McCain talks about high school sports was like the name of the
You should
clip.
have just kept it.
I'm like what?
You should have just clickbait.
But, yeah,
clickbait
dude.
it. Just put a picture of John McCain over his face
Yeah, exactly.
and just
But,
clickbait the hell out of it.
The AI is cool because I'll upload this whole long format video, and probably within 20 minutes it'll go through the whole video, and
Cut you like 3 hours of work.
It cuts me the whole video into clips.
Yeah.
And then it gives me all these different templates. I made my own template for how the clip looks, and it just does it for me. Because I feel like that would be a very time-consuming thing.
Yeah, the crazy part is one of the guys I worked with, he actually created his own ChatGPT script.
Really?
Yeah, like he created his own AI platform that we were able to utilize. Dude, it's his own script.
That's one thing I probably don't understand is like, how do you code ChatGPT? Because it's spitting out like different information.
Exactly.
Like, it's so
all
crazy.
It's all in the engineering of the script.
Really?
I think he ran it on Linux.
Okay.
But it was off network. Whatever we put into it, it would learn, and then because we can't put it onto a network because it's a local thing.
Okay.
In the government, you can't mix that stuff. But we did it as like our own testing agent to see what we wanted to do, and it was really good. And I worked with him on the back end of it, was software engineering it and learning it and doing the security side of it, make sure that it was pretty airtight and that nobody could access it. And I was just blown away by how smart these guys are, working for Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan, Amazon, AWS, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, like all these huge contractors and the biggest companies in the world. These guys are making stupid money just with this knowledge that they've built up. But going back to your question, a lot of the popular certifications, Sec Plus is probably the standard. That is like across the board. If you're going to get into that Sec Plus, then you could go into the CISP, which is a really good certification to look into. It's basically a lot of information with that.
Yeah.
Those are the two standards right off the bat. Then you got certifications in different Linux, Python.
Well, it's like the fastest growing industry, I think, right now.
Oh, yeah, everything's going digital. They say the next world war is not even going to be physical. It's just going to
believe it.
It's going to be digital.
That's
the scary part. I want to get ahead of that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, understanding computers you have to in 2023.
Yeah.
But I mean, going back to AI, do you think AI is going to be like a net positive thing or negative in the future?
I think human nature is going to turn it into a negative thing. I think it's a great tool for us to learn, but at what point are we going to use it for
too much?
Our devious little natures that human natures look into, because it doesn't have a moral compass.
Yeah.
You just tell it to do something and it does it, and it doesn't even think about it. So you could have it do good things, you could have it do bad things. I mean, even the minor things, like how many people in college are using it for their essays?
Yeah.
Do they learn, or is it AI just doing all of their paperwork?
I've seen, and with social media too, they tell you how to cheat on all these essays. Like you have to put it into ChatGPT, and then you put it into some other website that it's going to re-scramble the words or something.
Yeah. So
I mean, I've used ChatGPT for things before, like writing a contract or something, and it's not always right. Like if you actually read line for line what it says in there, sometimes it'll be like, what the hell did it just say? This doesn't make sense.
And then you see those popular videos where it's like the AI songs where they're taking like characters like Cartman from South Park and they're singing like Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On. I'm like, that's fun AI.
Oh yeah, like the deep fakes or something.
Yeah, deep fakes are scary.
Deep fakes are scary.
They can make a deep fake of us talking right now and saying completely absurd stuff.
They could. I'm not at that level yet.
Hey, you never know, because right now, even these scam calls that people are getting, like they'll call you and they'll just take your voice of you saying one thing, and then they can make you sign a contract or give out personal information just by you speaking a few words into that phone.
Yeah,
it's terrifying.
I've been seeing a lot of the more phone calls, and then I get all these random texts from like political people now.
Yeah,
saying to support their campaign, and I'm like, I've never signed up for anything like this. Like, how do you have my information? Why are you sending me these long texts?
Yeah, because it's all in those I accept agreements, you know, where it's like...
That you don't read.
Yeah, nobody reads that. I don't even read those.
I think the first time I ever heard someone read it was Joe Rogan reading TikTok, and I'm like, wow, this sounds terrible.
Yeah, and he just got that from like a news article and he went into it. And already had a specialist come on and talk and told him all of that, and he just regurgitates the information, which is a great form.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows a lot of different things. But yeah, I think AI is really fun. And it's interesting to learn from, but the long term is what's scary about it.
For sure.
Because you don't know what it's going to be used for, and you don't know what's real, what's not, what's human based. The one thing that is safe is kind of like this form right here, where it's like you see the humans talking, you see the humans interacting.
Well, I think this is how a lot of things should be done. Even going into like politics a bit, like I don't. I mean, the debates, you give someone like 2 minutes to talk about a topic, and it's like, okay, I don't understand what he just said, but now they're on to something else.
Yeah.
Like where if you have someone that just let them talk for an hour or two, or I mean probably longer for that, then you can understand what they want to do and why they want to do it and how they want to take action.
Yeah.
I think that's so much better than just this like mainstream media, just 5 minute clip, like 5 minute little segments, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
that's what you need
it's
to
like
know.
you're telling us major news, like from this, even Israel and Hamas and stuff. You just see little clips. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm happy Travis Kelce has a girlfriend in the NFL, but
Yeah,
like
exactly.
we have people being bombed right now. Like, can we get a little bit more onto this stuff? You know,
Mhm.
and it's just the attention span, and AI is not helping it.
No, the attention span's terrible. I mean, I even suffer from it sometimes. If I'm like reading an article, I'll just like look at the headline. I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah, I learned it. I know
Yeah.
that this is.
But no, it's I think like the long format videos are extremely beneficial, and I think should be. I mean, a lot of people are starting podcasts now. I think it's a very beneficial thing, and you can hear people's voices from all over, all different walks of life, and just understand people better. I think that's the big problem in with today is like a lack of understanding of other people.
Yeah, and getting that, like having us sit down and talk, like we've done this over the years in the shop and over our personal lives, but it's good that other people may be able to hear this and take something from it.
Yeah, relate to someone, just because everyone's going through stuff. Everyone's like doing their own thing. You might not think you're where you're supposed to be, but hey, maybe you hear someone like, oh, they're kind of in the same spot as me, and it makes you feel better about yourself instead of like the highlight reel of social media. Like, oh, look at how cool this is. Like, they're doing this, and they're at my age. Like, why am I not there?
Yeah, and you have other people that are possibly in your shoes where it's like, all right, I want to leave this industry and start my own thing. Like even me, like I'm like, damn, dude, I want to do my own podcast and talk to people. And it's like seeing you do it kind of gives me that like, confidence. Like, hey,
it can be done.
It can
like
be done.
anyone can do this. Like I just got the stuff. You don't even need to get all this stuff. You just, hey, I'm going to start a podcast. I use Buzzsprout to post it, which is just a software. They host it onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It took me 20 minutes to figure out how to get the podcast posted on those sites and like get it running.
Yeah. But like even just you saying that, I'm like, what is that website? Like I just you don't have to sign up for like a creator content on like Spotify. Like I didn't even think about those websites that are just like, all right, upload it here and we'll spread it everywhere.
Yeah, it's just like an RSS feed or something. Because like when I first thought, oh, I'm going to start a podcast, I'm like, this is probably going to be complicated to learn how to post it and everything. But this part of like the bundle with the mixer, the mics, the headphones that I got, it came with 6 months free of Buzzsprout. So I looked into the software. I'm like, why do I want Buzzsprout? Yeah. What I like about Buzzsprout is I own my podcast. Other ones that would host it like this, I guess they take ownership of the content.
Yeah.
So Buzzsprout, I completely own it. I have the rights to podcast everything, which is important if you're starting your own podcast, in my opinion.
Oh, of course.
And yeah, you literally just upload it there and they post it for you. I was thinking the same probably thought process. A lot of people thought, I'm like, oh, this is going to be complicated. I got to go into Spotify, try to get this posted, Apple Podcasts, do all this. Yeah. I'm like, how am I going to do all that? Simple.
They just did it right
like
there.
20 minutes. Like literally it took me 20 minutes. Like my first podcast, I literally set up all the equipment, plugged it all in. I'm like, okay, touched a couple buttons. I'm like, oh, this is actually really simple. Like it's self-explanatory with this thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, good to go. And just started it.
That's all you need to do. And
then the first episode I did mess up my software on my computer. I guess like the mic wasn't connected right or something. Yeah. So it was just us talking to each other, but no audio whatsoever.
No audio, just two guys talking.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was like, oh, we messed it up. We got to redo it. But it's a learning process. Like, you're going to mess up and just don't get discouraged. I was like, okay, we're just going to reshoot this.
Yeah, and it's one of your buddies. So
yeah, exactly.
It's like you guys could talk for hours, and it's just like, all right,
No, I mean, I actually found that it was a little harder to talk to someone I'm close to because you pretty much know all their answers that are coming.
That's fair.
Like, if you talk to him every day, I talk to him like every day. I'm like, I know his answer for this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So now, like, if he comes on again, we'll be more like just back and forth talking instead of like me interviewing kind of.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I mean, that's the good thing about that. But then you have people on that you don't know, and you could really
Yeah.
dive deep into like kind of like I don't know how close you are to some of the guys. Like even with this coffee guy, you could learn all about what he did to get to where he's at.
Yeah.
And like with me, I'm not into the fitness industry like that. I'm in the government side,
Mhm.
but you could dive into that and ask me things about that. And
Exactly.
it's just content creation is just endless.
Endless.
And I know you have countless people that want to get on here and talk to you.
What's cool is the outreach from it is has been great so far. And then I had someone, I did the podcast with Like-Minded Nutrition, is my friend Ant V out in Keller, Texas. I don't know. And he had someone that follows him that's like a personal trainer, I guess.
Yeah.
He just filled out my inquiry form last night.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have him on. Like I've clearly never met him. I've never been to Texas, but he saw someone else on the podcast. He's like, oh, I want to go on a podcast too. If this guy's just gonna talk to anyone.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Like maybe I might build a little following in Texas now somehow.
Oh, dude, I can get you some people too if you're willing to do like over the phone type of. Or
Yeah, I
over
figured
Zoom.
I figured out Zoom. The only thing there's like a little lag in like the internet connection, but I just like clipped that out, and that was.
Yeah.
But that's also cool about this is like learning those skills. Like now I can edit videos a little bit better, which. I mean, I thought it was going to be way more complicated. It probably is if I'm actually going to edit like real videos and stuff like that. But
Yeah, not AI.
yeah, no, like this,
Not
like when I clip up the long format podcast, I just like take out little pieces here and there of like lags or something, and then it's just good to get long format done.
Yeah, like I have a couple guys, like I told you before we started this. My guy, Richard Rivera, shout out to him. Great guy, really good with. He kind of is like a life coach, and he kind of specializes in helping men and overcome insecurities. And he's a really deep guy, very insightful, very good guy. Every time I talk to him, I'm like, it's like a breath of fresh air. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's such a
exactly.
positive energy. He would be great for you to be on here. That my buddy Gabe, that I was saying down in Texas, works
Dude,
with
and-
Anaka, and
Yeah.
they're getting pretty big in the fitness industry.
Anaka's huge.
Anaka is their clothing brand's unmatched with the streetwear.
Yeah,
But they started their own supplement line, and he's like one of their head
heard
sales
that.
guys. He like does all of their supplement stuff.
Oh, sweet.
So that's another connection down
Literally,
there in Texas.
anyone. Just throw anyone on here.
Yeah,
I'll
and
talk
if you
about
want,
them.
if you want military side, I got some real.
I mean,
degenerates.
I always really respect the military and their stories. I always find them fascinating of like what going through stuff and
the hardships, 'cause
dealing with like the travel
rough.
because like how is it in the military, like because you experienced it, like
Yeah.
setting your roots probably in Florida at first, and then it's like, okay, you got to go.
Yeah, like
And
it's
then-
really hard with relationships, dating, because you get really close with people, and then you're like, oh, I got to go, and if they're not willing to go,
Yeah.
it's like, what are you gonna do?
I mean, even the friendships you built,
Friendships, that's
probably
what I
it's
was
like
gonna touch on, yeah.
yeah,
It's hard because a lot of my friends, they're in different states. They've
Mm-hmm.
gotten out, they're traveling, they're overseas, and it's hard. But that's why social media is such a good thing for
Mm-hmm.
me, is that you get to keep in touch with some of my friends that I've met throughout the military and stuff like
Exactly.
that. And I've really respected that side of social media, other than
Mm-hmm.
the obvious downsides of it. But the unmatched social capabilities of it is
it's amazing.
it's amazing. But yeah, traveling in the military was really rough. And then you have a lot of the veterans right now dealing with a lot of PTSD and stuff like that. And they feel like they don't have a voice anymore. They don't have an identity. It's good for this platform because a lot of them will start podcasts or come on podcasts and they find it to be pretty therapeutic. Have you noticed that? Like talking to people, like kind of like that.
I haven't had any anyone like ex-military or anything like that really that has gone through anything like that, but I mean I've seen a lot of those podcasts and I love seeing them talk about it. Just like kind of it does seem relieving to them.
Yeah.
That they're just like getting their story out there for people to hear.
Yeah.
I think that's just being transparent is a big thing.
Yeah. And a lot of them are afraid to be transparent because they're afraid to be judged. And I think platforms like this are great.
Exactly. I mean, obviously there's going to be judgment no matter what
Yeah.
in today's culture. That's how people are. But I think it's very good. Like me putting myself out there more now, I've noticed a benefit in my life, and it's only been a month and a half or something since I started this.
Yeah.
I think transparency is key because, like we talked about before, everyone's going through something. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
we're all different, but we are all in the same game of life. So
Yeah, I don't know. I've watched almost all of them, but I don't know how deep you're willing to go on this. But like, I know that we've talked in our personal lives, and we both grew up pretty insecure. And I know growing up, was kind of rough for both of us in that aspect of things. But
Yeah, self-confidence wise for me, it was definitely rough.
how did you find it through the gym? And
Yeah, I mean, growing like I had a great childhood. My parents are amazing.
Yeah.
Everything like that was great at home, but just like my confidence in myself.
yeah,
I don't know really why I struggled with confidence so much. I was just kind of like this really tall, lanky, skinny kid. I liked playing sports, but I wasn't like. Looking back now, I wouldn't say that I loved it.
Yeah.
Like I loved it when I was a lot younger. And then as I got older, I mean, I think a bad thing for me was I got really into video games.
Oh,
Like,
really?
oh, dude, it was so
Yeah.
bad. Like I picked up like an Xbox. I got an Xbox when I was probably I don't know what age.
Yeah.
But I got way too into it, and that was a bad thing for me for sure. But I mean, I was always like kind of a somewhat athletic kid playing sports and stuff, and then being tall and skinny, I would like I broke a lot of bones. I had like 22 injuries and
Well, yeah, God, you're so fucking tall, dude.
yeah, no, like I had like 22 injuries and 2 surgeries, and I was like, all right, I got to give up like sports, and I just didn't want to like I didn't want to go through the recovery process anymore and try to get back and like just get hurt again. Like even still to this day, I don't want to go play sports anymore because I'm scared of getting hurt and what it's gonna do to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, just going through that, and then I was like, okay, I always was like this pretty active. I'm like, how do I keep doing this? And I'm like, I got to put on weight because I am really skinny. Like, I'm tired of being called frail and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not that it like really hurt my feelings or anything.
Yeah.
But it was like everyone knew me as this frail kid. I'm like, I want to change that because that's like I don't want to be thought of this like for my life as this like frail like skinny dude.
Yeah.
So I got into the gym. Probably my junior, like towards the end of my junior year of high school, because I tore my shoulder apart my junior year. So when I was able to start moving again with the shoulder surgery, I got into the gym, and then my senior year of high school, I just like didn't play sports. I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I lifted weights, didn't really know what I was doing. I would just go after school, throw some weights around. Not a lot by any means. I was still skinny as hell. But I actually probably put on like 10 pounds throughout my senior year of high school. And people noticed it, and I like felt good about it. I'm like, oh, this is like cool, but I'm still really skinny.
Yeah.
And then I graduated, and I was like, okay, I have more time in my hands. Let's like try to put on more size. So I went to Brookdale for like a semester. Didn't work out, whatever. And I started shopping at NutriShop near Jersey Strong in Tinton Falls, where I think we both used to work out.
Yeah.
And I put on like more weight. I was like, okay, cool. Like my first year out of high school, I probably went from 165 to like 185-ish. And then, you would see people around from high school, see them in the gym, and they're all like, yo, you're like putting on good size. I'm like, oh, this feels good. I kept going. And then I would say I really got into it I got into it right after high school, but I was like fully into it when I was like 19, 20, that I was like, this is my lifestyle. When I started going to Jersey Shore Fitness Shop.
Yeah.
And then turning 21, I was probably up like 40, 50 pounds at that time now from high school.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And I'm still local. So I would go to the bars and people are like, oh dude, like you're actually bigger now. Like,
who are you?
Yeah, no. And
Shawnee Shores.
yeah, exactly. And then, now it's just become my life. And that's what I've completely changed. Like from being that frail kid, now they're people that know me from my youth would look at me as like, oh, Sean, like he works out, like he knows like fitness, nutrition, all that stuff.
Is there a certain point in that where you like hit that moment? You're like, all right, kind of like that turning point or that pivot in that mindset where it was like, all right, I don't have to be in this mindset of an insecure, frail person. Was there like a pinpoint, like at a certain day in the gym, you hit a certain PR, or you looked in the mirror and you're like, you know what? Because you did when I was here, you were shredded to the bone, long hair, looking like Fabio.
Yeah, man, the man bun. I still miss that thing.
You need to do it. You need to grow it back out.
I keep cutting it off, and I'm like, well, the first time I forgot why the reason I grew it at first was one of my older cousins, Matt. He went through something, his hair, like lost his hair. I was like, oh, and he always told me to grow my hair out.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
while you have it type of deal.
Yeah, and well, he grew his back. I'm like, listen, you get through your stuff. When yours starts growing back, I'll grow mine. Me, I'm kind of a sarcastic asshole a little bit.
Really? I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, but in a good way. So I was straight bald. Like you probably remember when I used to like shave my own head like that.
Yeah, that was what 2016,
probably
maybe even before that.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna grow a bun.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna take this to an extreme, And I went from like being completely bald, and I just grew a full bun.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I just thought it didn't look right. Kind of wasn't health. My hair didn't feel healthy at one point because I would get like treatments in it to make it straight because my hair was like really curly and afro-like.
Yeah.
So I cut it off, and then like okay, done with that for a little bit. Had the clean cut. Then I grew it back for whatever reason. Probably because I wanted it again.
Yeah.
And then I think I was just like waking up with hair in my mouth, and I'm like, this is just terrible.
This is annoying.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm cutting this off.
So now I'm gonna grow a mustache, and I'm gonna have hair in my mouth.
Well, I grew a beard
Yeah.
last year.
I saw that.
It was disgusting looking.
Yeah, that was one thing I was happy I was able to grow after being in the military.
My problem was my beard wouldn't grow on my cheek. It grew under my chin. So it was just like going straight down.
Neck beard.
Yeah, I'm like, this looks terrible. I was convinced it was fine, but looking back at pictures, it was terrible.
Yeah.
So now I just I had to cancel a haircut, so I haven't been to the barber in like two or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm just growing a mustache.
Hey.
For whatever reason.
Respect. Full respect.
Just
November's coming up.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna see what happens.
Shave November.
So far, my sister walked up. I went home this morning, stopped by, and my sister walked upstairs and she said, "What is on your face?" So there's been some negative reactions.
Some negative.
But I don't care.
What about with the ladies? I mean,
I did have a girl walk up to me in the gym and said, "What is it growing on your face as well?"
No way.
Yeah, well, I'm friends with her, so
Okay.
she's. Yeah,
I was like, just a random girl. I was like,
No.
that's very Italian
bold.
of her. That's
But
very
no.
bold.
I don't know what the feedback is. I don't really care. I'm just doing it.
I mean, going back to the insecurity thing, I know that did that affect you with like girls growing up and then versus now? Like, how do
definitely
you,
shy.
How do you handle that?
I was definitely shy growing up. Didn't really talk to many girls. Didn't really try. And then now I'm not really scared to do anything anymore. It just kind of
If it happens,
it is what it is out there. I'm just like, I've learned recently. I probably learned it that I have to live life. I always love helping people out. That's one thing about me. Like I was always like try to go out of my way to help people do things. Living life for like almost other people in a sense.
Yeah.
Like I think living life selfishly is important, but in like a good way. Don't be like all about yourself and revolve everything around yourself.
Yeah.
But me living life selfishly now has made me a better person to like do this podcast, have people on, be there for people and show up for other people. But I'm doing it because like I want to.
Yeah.
It's not for any other reason.
Yeah.
Really.
So are you taking that into your dating life as well? Like where we kind of touched where it's like you're not going to bring somebody into your life unless they make you better.
Unless I see them making my life a better place, and then if I see how I can be of benefit to them, then maybe. But as of right now, I'm just focusing on like, I have the podcast, the Short Body Nutrition, just focusing on my own growth. And I think that's important is to like, even if you're single, don't just like go out looking for things. Like look at yourself first and build yourself, and then all that will come.
What would you say some of the most important traits are that you're looking for in somebody?
Dude, I honestly don't even know.
You don't even know.
No.
That's the scary part about
it's
it.
It's like I mean, because I've never really dated someone seriously, so it's just like I'm kind of open to anything. Like I want obviously someone's going to support me and not take away from my life, like not give me crap if like, oh, I have a podcast today, I'm not going to be able to do this. Like I'm not going to cancel something we have going on, our big plans, but like if I already have something planned, I don't want someone that's going to be like, oh, well, why don't you just reschedule that? Because I want to do something dumb. Like, no.
I mean, this is definitely your time to be selfish with all of your
and then I think it's important, especially today. I see a lot of people like that. When they finally go out on their own, they're already in relationships or something. Like, I don't think they ever really find themselves.
Yeah.
So, like, say that relationship doesn't work or something, then you're on your own now, and you don't know yourself. You're like, what do I do? And you're kind of lost.
Yeah.
I want to fully be like know what I am, who I am, and what I'm about. I want to understand myself first, and then if I get in a relationship and then it doesn't work out, I already have those ground roots. You know what I mean? That's kind of my thought process. But I've been single forever, so like.
I mean, it's definitely the smarter way to approach it because, like, as you know, and most of the people that know me that are on here, I was with somebody very seriously. I'm not going to dive into how deep we got, but it was very serious and loved her to death. And, it's hard because you move on from somebody that was so close to you for so long and deep. And it's like, how do you go back to dating somebody in what's your favorite color? What do you do?
All that
It's
stuff,
like all
like
the small talk. It's
the
like
basic stuff.
once you're in something super serious and very deep connected and gone through a lot of trauma together, it's like, how do you just casually date anymore?
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. I mean,
it's so rough.
I can't imagine that because you're coming from the opposite end of me,
Exactly.
where it's like I've only gotten to that like small talk and like the basic stuff. I don't know what the deep stuff is like.
Yeah. And
So
it
I'm
sucks.
like,
don't do it. Don't
like,
do it.
like I've gotten to like certain points and it's just like never pushed past that for me. You know, whether them or me doesn't really matter. No real drama or anything like that ever, which thank God. But
Yeah.
I just don't. That's like uncharted territory for me. So when I get into something, it's gonna be like, oh wow, this is
New.
yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
scary.
It's scary because, like, for me, being so serious with somebody and it's like trying to date now, which I've taken a lot of time to myself, you know, haven't taken anything too seriously. After that serious relationship, I talked to somebody casually and great person, but like we just saw things very differently. But with her, it was tough because we just went two different paths and we
Yeah.
were there for each other at a pivotal time in our lives. And where I was going one way, she was going the other way. And it was very toxic for a little bit there.
It
I'm not gonna
happens.
dive too deep into that unless you want to.
No,
But
not at all.
it's like now dating wise, it's like there's moments where I'm by myself and it's like, do I miss this person or do I miss the companionship?
Exactly.
It's like
Well,
I'll always love her. I don't know. She'll always have a piece of my heart, whether that's good or bad. You know, it's just a part of my history. But like, how do you dive into that? And I think it's going to take the right person,
oh, for sure.
which is why I'm so cautious with my energy and my emotions and stuff like that. It's like, how do you move on and do it healthy?
Yeah.
And I'm at the point now where I can be with people and I don't have any of that negative stuff carrying on anymore. So
For sure. I mean, yeah, it's tough. I mean, I forgot what you said. You said something I wanted to talk. It
Was
was
it
like,
about
oh yeah, it was like I see that a lot where people like kind of accept a toxic relationship,
Yep.
but I think that circles back to what I was mentioning, like being scared to be by yourself because you don't really know yourself. You know yourself with someone, and that's fine. But like, if you're starting to get that like toxicity and stuff in a relationship, and it's like you're too scared to be alone to end it with someone,
yeah.
I don't ever want to find myself in that situation.
Yeah.
Where I want to be able to like. It sounds harsh, but I just want to pull. I want to be able to pull the plug if I need to.
Oh,
Which,
you have
like,
to at this point.
Like, because I'm not someone. I probably won't put up with toxicity too well. I'm just gonna be. I can't. Like.
Yeah.
I want to be able to be like, listen, this is getting to the point that we are no longer benefiting each other. We're harming each other. I just want to be able to pull the plug and be. Like, obviously, I'll have to heal and everything, but I want to be done. Be able to be done and be like not scared to be by myself. Like, oh, now I'm gonna be alone. Like, should I just deal with this? Because there might be some good times of it. I just want to be able to pull the plug and be like, okay, time to move on. You go do your thing. I'll do mine. And like be amicable. I don't want to have like someone hate me forever because of what like trying to put up with something for so long.
Yeah, because once there's like that crack, it's hard to really recover from that. And by no means was I ever perfect in any friendship or relationship that I've ever been in. Nobody's perfect. I've definitely made my mistakes and things I could take back, but that's a part of growing. And it's one thing is you got to let go of some of that negative emotions and some of the mistakes you may have made in the past because you're never going to grow from it if you just hold on to that. And it's like people do change. People do evolve from those traumatic experiences.
I mean, even just life, dude. You're exposed to new things every day, and that accumulates over months and years. So you're, like you said, you're just going separate paths. It's being able to identify that instead of like kind of dragging each other down the same direction that you're both not happy.
Yeah.
Just don't be afraid to branch out on your own. And then it's like, oh, we had our thing. We're like, we still care about each other. Like, hey, how are you? But like, you're doing your thing. I'm doing mine. Yeah. And it's respectable. That's always been like my goal with all my relationships. Yeah. Even friendships, relationships, whatever they are. Like, if someone's dragging me one way, I want to go the other way. It's fine. Like, and I'll see you. It's like, oh, what's up? How are you? I don't want anything like negative, but sometimes you just got to go your separate way.
Yeah.
And be able to like not be scared to do it.
Yeah. And that's the hard part now with like human nature. Like we want that pack, and
We want
especially like
the attention.
yeah. And how old are you now again?
28.
28, and I'm about to be 30 in February, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
we're getting to that age where it's like a lot of our cohorts and friends that we grew up with are now married, having kids,
Yep.
and it's like that insecurity, like we're held back.
Exactly.
We're behind the curve, and it's
You're
like
not.
maybe it's just not our time, you know?
Yeah, I think
And-
everyone has their time, and I don't think people should rush because I feel like definitely around this age, like you're saying, I think
Yeah.
people like that pressure's there, and they're like, oh, this person likes me, I'm gonna go for that, even though like you might be sacrificing yourself to do that. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to have, I want to fully understand myself and be like, these are my non-negotiables. This is who I am.
Yeah.
Accept it or don't. This is how I'm gonna be.
Yeah, and it's finding that right person that's going to accept those
Mm-hmm.
or that. So I definitely understand that. And I think as we've gotten older, like seeing the Facebook posts and the social media posts of like, oh, they're doing all the relationship things, they're getting married, having kids. It's like,
Especially in
some of
fall.
these- oh,
It's
especially in
apple
the fall.
picking season.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
what is it? Pumpkin picking now?
Pumpkin picking, apple
The
picking.
same thing. You're
pumpkin
doing.
spice drinks and all
Yep.
that. You have like a big pumpkin with the little pumpkin. It's like, well, we're expecting in
Yep.
May or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you see that, and especially I think for us at this age, for males, like we kind of expect to be with somebody already, especially females too. But
Oh, I
it's
think
like,
females for
at
sure.
what point do females even they just accept what they're with, kind of like we do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hard part.
I
We don't have a biological clock,
mm-hmm.
but like our mental, like with other men.
Yeah, no,
we're
it's
like,
the
damn.
pressure of social media. That's like you spoke about the positives, but the negatives are like
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
the highlight reels of other people's lives and the comparisons you're going to make naturally. Like everyone does it. I've done it, but I just try to think like, listen, I'm on my own path. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm very happy with myself right now, being on my own, which I think I mean, I always heard when people go on their own, it's tough at first. Like you're lonely and stuff like that. I feel like I've adapted very well. I'm like, I'm very okay with being by myself a lot.
Yeah.
Which I love.
And you have a good group of friends and family,
Mhm.
which helps with that.
But
You grew up here too. So.
yeah, exactly. So I'm not like far from everything too, which I can't imagine like what that's like for you, like moving to another state by yourself and, like things like that, getting torn up from your roots. But on the other hand, like I don't have friends in other parts of the country like you do. Like I think that's probably a very cool thing to have. Like, oh, I can go to probably you have friends in all different states, right?
Oh, all over the different coasts.
Yeah,
north.
exactly. So you can be like, oh, hey, I'm gonna come. Like, what are you up to? Like next in a couple weekends, I'm gonna come out.
Yeah.
That's probably cool to
Like,
be
I
able to
have
do that.
buddies over in Arizona, San Diego,
Mhm.
Florida. I want to plan a trip down to Florida to see some of those guys down there. Texas to go see my buddy that I told you about.
You were
Colorado.
just in
of
Michigan,
course.
right?
No, I wasn't in Michigan. I was over. Are you talking about the football game?
Yeah, yeah.
No, that was at Baltimore.
Oh, that was in Baltimore. Okay.
Yeah, my buddy was wearing a Michigan jersey.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, which no blue, not go blue.
Yeah.
But he's a huge Michigan fan, but he's from Detroit.
Okay.
Luckily, he's in Maryland right now. He's getting ready to medically retire, but he's
Okay.
what he's doing after that, I'm not sure.
hmm
He's got some stuff going on.
So you've been all over the country, pretty much, bounced
Dude,
around.
I've been all over this country. Whether I visited, traveled through, seen. I've been overseas a few different areas.
Where overseas did you go?
Can't really talk too much about it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
No,
I
okay.
Can't dive
But-
too deep into it, but it was all for work. No pleasure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So I mean, I want to go to one place I've always wanted to travel for some reason is Arizona. Just want to check it out there.
Oh, dude, it's
The Midwest, I guess.
gorgeous.
Because
It's hot.
is it?
Really hot, but it's right up your alley.
Yeah, I mean it's dry heat though. Like Colorado.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved Colorado, so that's like I like that area. I mean, I don't. California was always an idea for me, and like I wanted to go there, but I don't
Yeah.
not really into it anymore.
Not other than the weather. I don't.
Yeah, like that's
It's not that nice.
where would you say is like a really underrated state to travel of any places that you've been to?
I would probably say Montana. I mean,
Okay.
everybody knows it's beautiful, but it's
Yeah.
breathtaking.
Is it?
It is breathtaking.
Would you say it's like similar to Colorado there?
Less hill,
Okay.
less mountain type, but it's just vastness. It is gorgeous, gorgeous lakes, just nature.
Mm-hmm.
Northern California was really nice.
Okay, that's up by
The
like,
redwoods and all
Oregon.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Close to Oregon, but
Okay.
like that goes into it. One of my good friends that I actually lived with when I was here in the military, he's actually over in Idaho,
Okay.
and he wants me to come out and visit him over there. And it's like I've never been to Idaho, but what's in Idaho, But
Aren't
let's
there
go find
potatoes in
out.
Idaho?
Yeah, a lot of potatoes.
A lot of potatoes.
A lot of potatoes.
Can't go
Which
wrong
I don't
with
know
that.
if you're allowed to even have carbs, can you, Sean?
What do you mean? Of course I have carbs. Everyone needs carbs in their life.
Everybody needs carbs.
Yeah,
Sign
exactly.
up for Shore Body Nutrition. The
But,
plug.
Yeah, dude. I mean, traveling is something that I've never really experienced. I've never really done it. I've only been to Colorado a dozen times.
Dude, I'm always looking to travel and travel partners.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to go on a trip, let's
I'll have to
book it,
plan
dude.
something. I mean, I know I got to go down. I got to go down to Florida. I still have never been to Florida.
You haven't been to Miami?
No, dude. I don't know if I'm into Miami. The idea.
You'll love to be Miami. You just gotta let Shawnee Shore out a little
Let
bit.
loose for a weekend.
Yeah, you gotta go into it expecting to get a little wild.
Yeah, no. That's what I've heard about Miami. But my uncle has a house in Naples. I want to go check that out down there.
Naples is gorgeous.
Yeah, like more laid back. I'm more into the laid back stuff. Like as I said, as we talked about before. Like I'm not trying to go crazy anymore. To go out like not that I ever really did. It's just not my thing.
Yeah,
Especially, well, I mean, I turned 21. And the first thing I did, I started bouncing DJs in Belmar. So I'm like, yeah, this is like
one time, and I will not go back.
Yeah, like the craziness. I'm like, okay, I've seen this craziness. I don't want to ever be that like these people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not that anything's wrong with them. They're all having fun. Whatever, things happen in there. I just learned. I saw the scene. I'm like, I know this is not for me, but I can work in it. That's all I can do.
Yeah. What's different though, like around there, you go down there, and it's like kind of the environment's bred for it.
Mm-hmm.
Where Miami.
Oh,
I could tell you a wild story if you want to hear it.
I mean, I'm in.
So we went down. It was a bunch of guys' trip not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
And never touched drugs, anything like that. Growing up, military stuff. So we went down there and we went into a place called Club Space.
Okay.
It's like 3 or 4 floors. I was pretty toasted at the time. Alcohol. Don't remember too much, but I made it onto like the second floor of this club. And we got there at like 11 o'clock, which around here you're like, all right, it's already popping, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which it was. But we were on the second floor. And it was like the same song for like 4 hours. Because I think this is the floor where it was like trance music.
Okay.
And it was like where everybody went and I guess was on ecstasy. So they didn't notice that
okay.
the song was changing or not.
Gotcha.
But I was like, for me, not really on anything besides alcohol. I was like, why are we listening to the same song, the same beat over and over again? So we were out there. We were just talking, mingling. And then this guy just comes out of the shadows. This random dude. He's like, hey, do you and your friends want any Coke? And I was like Coca-Cola? Like, what are you talking about? I knew what he was talking about, but I was not trying to have that conversation with him. He's like, oh, cocaine.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, dude, I'm good. And then it was like a movie where he just like kind of slid
back into the darkness.
shadow. Yeah, like
oh,
it wasn't like he like backpedaled. It was like he was floating, like levitating back. And then you go into the bathroom and there's like counters just littered with cocaine all over it.
Wow.
Just people doing coke, and I'm like, this is not my scene.
That is Miami, I guess. I
That
mean, that's
is
not
Miami.
that's not going to be my scene either. I'm like, I've had people at DJs randomly walk up to me and ask me if I've wanted substances. I'm like, I'll like look at them. I like look at myself. I'm like, dude, I work here.
Yeah, like I'm about to
like
kick you out of here.
Yeah, like what are you doing? Like you realize I work here, right? And they're like, oh no, and then I'm like, yeah, you gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm like, and it's better not to argue this because then I'll just tell the cops what's going on. Just like leave, go home.
Just leave. I don't want to deal with this later on and all your shenanigans you got going.
Yeah, but I think this was a good episode, dude. Thanks for coming up, and
be back anytime, dude.
And no, I'll have to come down to Maryland. We'll shoot a podcast down in.
Dude, I could take you to some wild spots. Not wild as in like just gorgeous spots.
In Maryland.
In Maryland.
Yeah, I've never seen. I mean, I've driven through. It's nice.
It's not a fun state to drive through. I'll tell you that.
No.
It's good to get off the highway and go see some of the.
For sure, I'm interested in seeing like the whole country eventually.
Have you been to DC?
I went out in DC once. My older cousin lives there.
Have you been out to like the museums and stuff like that, or did you just go out?
I mean, probably I think I had an 8th grade class trip that I went to the museums and stuff.
Jersey went all the way down there?
Yeah, I think my school in 8th grade, I think they probably still do it. I don't even know. Their class trip, they have a big class trip for 8th graders.
Okay.
It's like you're going to high school the next year, so they like take everyone to DC.
Okay.
Or something.
Yeah, that was a standard for us down there. It was like, hey, let's all go to the.
So I've seen the museums. I'm not really into I'm not necessarily into all that stuff.
Really?
I'm probably bad at sightseeing.
Bad at sightseeing.
I'm good at I'll go check places out and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like let's go see something else now.
Yeah. So what is like your go-to when it comes down to like when you want to travel somewhere? What are your things that you look for? Like food, culture, different sites.
Boulder, Colorado.
Boulder, Colorado, everybody.
That's literally it. As I said, I've been there like a dozen times. Me and the cousins and uncle go out there on a guy's trip. The food probably is the most attractive thing to me out there.
Food?
Yeah, like the meats are just all farm to table pretty much.
Oh, God, yeah, everything.
Like so many
foraged.
an abundance of different restaurants in Boulder. I mean, I'm sure you probably have that in Asbury, Red Bank. It's just that you're so accustomed to it around here that like you don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I think the food in Colorado and just the environment, like the mountains, like the beauty of like the whole scenery, I think that's what attracts me there.
Yeah, and I mean, you're damn near as tall as the mountain, so that makes sense.
Exactly. So. But this was great, dude. Thanks for coming on, and I guess we'll see everyone next time on Unorganized with Shawnee Shore.
Yeah, have me back anytime, man.
Yeah.
This was really fun.
Awesome.